Daybreak at the edge of Canada. An early start at the D.F. Barnes fabrication shop in St. John's, where for 12 years Sharon Whalen has been welding, mostly for offshore oil.
I think it was a good career path that I chosen. There's great stability in the life. It's home every night. You get it's good money.
She's from nearby Bell Island, where jobs are scarce. Oil gave her a chance to work close to home.
A lot of people I went to high school with, they did move out west, but for the most part, if they're not working in trades, they're maybe not working.
The people here will keep working thanks to the approval of the Bay de Nord project, a 200 million barrel oil field in the deep waters northeast of here. Ottawa approved it despite pressure from environmentalists. Some fear it could be the last oil project, and that history is about to repeat itself. Growing up here in the 1980s, cod was king, but by 1992, the northern cod fishery had closed forever. The king was dead, and the population of this province dropped by 10% over the next decade. Offshore oil put a floor under the population and the economy, but now that floor is starting to creak. The thought of a similar transition is enough to drive you to drink. So I sat down with Premier Andrew Furey to talk about it over a pint.
The cod moratorium is directly responsible for the demographic shift in our communities today. So in the 70s, we had 6 kids for every senior, and now we have 2 seniors for every kid. That's just not sustainable.
But how do you avoid a repeat of that with this transition?
Well, I think we have the benefit, if you will, of having the bad experience from the cod moratorium to have lessons learned moving into this transition.
Is Bay de Nord the last project, though?
No, I don't think so. I think Bay de Nord is the new gold standard.
But you're liberal, right? And the Liberal government claims to be a climate champion, and you saw the hit they took. Yep. I mean, do you think you'd be able to get another one through, Stephen Guilbeault, if he stays Environment Minister?
It's responsible to be the new gold standard, and we should promote it as such. But I think that's why Newfoundland and Labrador's offshore is well positioned, because there is more out there that is similar. Will it have to meet the rigorous environmental process? Absolutely, and it should.
Right, so like in 92, it was like a light switch went off, right? And the room just went dark. And this is more of a dimmer switch transition that, the oil sector here will...
Yeah, I don't see it as a dimmer, I see it as a changing one light to another.
That light is in the process of being changed about 100 kilometers away at the Come By Chance oil refinery. This place closed in 2020. But its new owner, Berea, is trying to give it new life.
So how has the mood changed with your members, knowing that there's a second chance for this place?
The mood changed quite a bit because they had no future.
Union President Glenn Nolan has been working with the company to build a new future, one built around biofuels.
It's brought life back into the workers. There's an opportunity now for expansions. Berea has talked to us about it, and they got plans, and hopefully we'll get a second phase, a third phase, and keep going, because renewable is the future, and we're going to be the first of its kind to get on track with this. So it's a good news story in that sense.
So this place didn't just refine oil, it refined Russian oil.
Absolutely, it was different types of oil. It was sour crude, it was light crude. So it was different types of crude that they can get on the market, local crude, whatever they can get at a good price, and we'd refine it.
Once this conversion is complete, crude oil will be replaced with corn oil, cooking oil, and soybean oil to make renewable diesel and lower emission aviation fuel. It will be cleaner but smaller, only about half the jobs they had in the past.
It won't be the same numbers, and that's the hard part. There will people that will not receive a job at first, but there is possibilities.
The transition is less obvious in St. John's, where the signs of economic strain are easy to find, thanks to 2 years of COVID and a slowdown in the oil sector. The hope is Bay de Nord provides another jolt, so the big supply ships can keep making their runs offshore, and the last barrel of oil is a barrel of Newfoundland and Labrador oil. Back at the shop, company president Jason Fudge is preparing for life after that last barrel.
About 60 to 70% of the work we do in this shop right now is oil and gas.
The story of D.F. Burns is the story of the provincial economy, originally focusing on engines and parts for ships, then offshore oil, now looking internationally and close to home for what's next.
Obviously, we're going through an energy evolution, and we recognize and support that. Newfoundland and Labrador relies a lot on its oil and gas industry. I mean, it can't be overstated how important it is for us.
We found the solution after cod. What's the solution after oil?
Well, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Do we know what that next industry is going to be beyond oil and gas? I'm not sure what that is yet, but we'll find an answer to that. And I don't think that needs to be today, next week, next year, or a decade from now.
It's the million-dollar question for the 500,000 people who live here. From an abrupt transition 30 years ago to a more gradual one, nearly 30 years from now. David Cochran, CBC News, St. John's.